And I think that was one of the first things I learned is that there's no rules, but you have to become friends with it, because if you try to keep it away, it'll destroy you. And so for me, I've just had to really welcome grief in. Therapy has been vital, super helpful for me, to have somebody else help me walk through it.
Yeah.
I think I'm still learning. Again, I'm only 6 months in. There's not a grief book, and you just have to go through it, and you have to welcome it, I think.
Well, hey crew, thank you so much for joining us today on The Conversation. It's Adam and Emily here coming at ya. Today we have episode 308 with Carlos Whittaker.
Let's go.
Before we jump into talking about the episode, key things that we liked, we do have a couple of giveaway winners. We've done a few giveaways in the last couple of weeks, and I just kind of wanted to share who they were. So we had a podcast survey where we had people share like kind of what they were enjoying about the podcast.
You guys gave great feedback.
Yes.
And we're implementing already some of it. A whole bunch more is to come, and that's because of the survey. So
yes.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, it was awesome. So Mira McIntyre, you got a $25 Starbucks gift card coming your way.
Let's go.
Then we also gave away Paul Tenhaken's book, Code of Contentment. It's like a daily devotional.
Yeah.
Della Colburness is my winner for that. So Della, if you haven't seen an email from me yet, be on the lookout.
And Della's one of my favorite humans.
Yeah, she's awesome.
I love Della.
I know Della too. We have an awesome episode for you today. Before we get started, Adam, would you like to share just a little bit about our partners that we have?
Yeah, our partners are incredible. I honestly, I feel so honored to get to share about them. These are all partners that I know very well. They're partners I trust, and it's why I want you to know about these partners as well. Our first partner is Tommy John. If you've not worn Tommy John, you are missing out. Tommy John has thousands and thousands of 5-star reviews and over 20 million pairs of Tommy John sold, whether it's undershirts, underwear, modern polos, sleepwear. I wear it all. Honestly, my undershirts, if you ever see me wearing an undershirt, it's white, it's Tommy John. My favorite part though is the PJs. I tell everybody, go spoil yourself and get some PJs. They're the best, and I'm not a PJs person.
I believe it.
They're amazing. So
they have
go
good stuff.
to TommyJohn.com. If your significant other has a birthday coming up, if you're just like, I don't know what to get somebody, get them Tommy John. That's the first thing. Our second partner is Vern Eide Mitsubishi. Vern Eide Motor Cars is a growing employee-owned faith-based company that strives to deliver dreams and transform lives. And their goal is excellence in everything that they do. My neighbor just got a new vehicle. He got a Honda, and I saw Vern Eide on the back, and I texted him. I'm like, you just made a great decision. And he's like, well, you talk about it all the time. I'm like, let's go. So genuinely, I'm telling my neighbors, I'm telling my family, I'm telling you, if you're looking for a vehicle of any kind, Honda, Acura, Ford, Chevy, whatever it is, they'll have it, from tractors to cars to snowmobiles to boats. Go do that. No matter where you live, they'll ship it to you. So go check out verneide.com. I was there earlier today, verneide.com.
Perfect.
That's our partners.
Thank you so much for that. Partners are great.
Oh, they're amazing.
We love our partners. And the people behind the businesses. What great people.
Amazing people. Like, they're all my favorite people. Yeah. That's why it's so cool to say, like, you need to go to Vern Eide. You need to wear Tommy John, because awesome people behind it.
Yeah. So today we have Carlos Whittaker on the podcast, and it was a little bit different, kind of like we did previously with the Jess Connolly episode. This had a live audience in the room with you. So about 50 people came and showed up and listened to Adam and Carlos talk. What were your favorite takeaways, things Carlos shared?
There was a lot of great stuff. He shared about grief. His dad passed away 6 months ago, and got emotional sharing about grief, and I thought it was really, really powerful. So if you're still walking through a season of grief yourself, or you have a friend, that part is worth the price of admission in itself. We also talk about our divided world, and I kind of asked him, like, should I share these news articles on my Facebook? Like, how should I engage online? And I just thought he had a really challenging word. And I kept trying to say, but like, I'm trying to inform people and whatever. That was one of my favorite parts. We also talked about parenting. We also talked about staying young. Something I've been struggling with lately is I'm 43, but I'm acting like I'm 98. And so he had some challenges for me. So on that note, sit back, relax, and enjoy this conversation. All right. Can we put it up and welcome Carlos Whittaker with us here today?
To the Adam Weber podcast.
Gosh, this is crazy. We have a live interview. You've been on my podcast now several times. Every time I enjoy it.
Yeah, this is like Jimmy Fallon. Like, what's happening now? You're leveling up.
No, I'm trying to level up, but I'm a work in progress.
I love it.
Okay, so last time you were on, we talked about your 2-month hiatus from screens.
Yes.
Which is what you shared about this morning at Embrace.
Absolutely.
I just want to ask one question. If there's anybody here that has a follow-up question from today's message, feel free to shoot your hand up. What has been your biggest pushback? Like, I want to do that, but... And then what do you say to that? Because I feel like when I was even listening to you in the interview this morning, I have my own like, oh, that's great, but I got, I have life, so I need to.
Yeah. That's it. That's the pushback. Everyone's like, everyone's gonna have an excuse. Like literally, there's not a human being that would read that book, watch the documentary, or hear my talk that wouldn't say, well, that's great for you, but it's just not practical. And here's the thing, like, I'm not saying to become a monk or to become an Amish farmer. I'm saying that I don't care who you are and how much you rely on technology. I've had somebody that read the book that works in AI, and their entire job is to make AI smarter. And even he was like, I needed this because it doesn't have to be 2 months. It can literally be 2 hours on a Saturday. Like 2 hours, just 2 hours. Take your phone, take it to your next door neighbor's house, drop it off with them. And for 2 hours, exist without it.
Yeah.
I promised you. Like, even that. And then what happens is you have people, what I do is I try to help people go from 2 hours on a Saturday, do that every Saturday for a month. Then after a month, go to 4 hours. Then after a month, go to 8. And I believe that if everybody made it a goal to spend one waking day a week away from screens, I can't remember the math right now, but I want to say that will like guarantee that you'll get at least 6 years back of your life if you just take one day off a week. So whatever that looks like, and it doesn't have to be, all at one time, because, I've got people that are nurses and they're on call and they can't, they have to have their screen. So that's the pushback is people, and honestly, as much as you can tell people about the number and how many years you're going to lose, at the end of the day, people don't care. Like at the end of the day, it's like, yeah, that's horrible. Oh, well, that's just kind of how it's going to be. And I'm here to say it doesn't have to be that way. So.
Oh, that's good. Well, even I think it was this morning or last night we talked about it. So you're still on Instagram. Like that is like, and it's a huge part of your life.
Yeah.
But I noticed last night that you batched a bunch of things. So your story, it was like 2.5 days maybe of content that you like bam, 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 bam. And share like you told me like why you do that.
Well, because now that since I've done the experiment, I used to, and honestly, like it's probably affected Instagram a little bit, but I used to share the moment in the moment. And now I don't ever do that anymore. So I'm always sharing the moment a day later. So people may think I'm in Wichita Falls today because they're looking at Instagram, and that was from 2 days ago that I'm posting all of that stuff. So I'm still capturing it, but I don't want to share the moment in the moment. And then what it does is it keeps me off Instagram. It keeps me, my screen time, I didn't share this today, but it's gone from 7.5 hours a day to about 2.5 hours a day. Oh. So that's 5 hours a day. I'm still Instagramming. I'm still TikToking. I'm still YouTubing. I'm still doing everything I was doing prior to, probably with even more success. 5 hours a day I have taken back. So, that the excuse that, well, this is my job, doesn't work for me.
That's good.
Yeah.
I was convicted. I haven't shared this with you, so I do.
I'm just a conviction machine.
Oh,
bro.
jeez.
I'm convicted when you said this.
I do goals, so because of John Acuff. So I do goals July 1st to July 1st. So the last year from July 1st, one of my goals was to have a social media free day once a week. So it's no longer a goal of mine. So yesterday, my daughter said, "Dad, you're supposed to get off your phone. Like, your daily goal." And I was like, "Oh, baby, actually that was for last year, and I'm not doing that goal this year." And she was upset.
Wow.
She's like, "Why? You need to do that goal again."
Yeah.
And so between the combination of my own daughter saying, "Hey, no, that was actually a goal that you need to repeat and then double," was definitely.
Yeah. How about that not be a goal? How about that just be life? You know.
Conviction machine. Gosh. Anything else you want to say about screens? Anything else that you're just like, hey, here's one more nugget of gold that I wish if I could rewrite the book and add a chapter to it.
Oh man, wow, what a great question. No, I mean, yeah, there's things that and I actually don't even know if I put this in the book, but one of the ways that the Amish affected me in the way I approach technology in general now is I thought before I went there, I thought they were just anti-screens. They were just anti-tech. They were just anti-whatever. And they're not. They actually, if you go to any Amish community, they adapt technology into their community all the time, just way slower than we do. So they ask two questions every single time there's a new piece of technology that they're going to bring in. And the questions are, will this piece of technology bring me closer to the community, or will it take me farther apart? Those questions are why they make the decisions that they make. So that's why they'll never have cars, because if you have a vehicle that goes 80 miles an hour, Willis said, if something ever happens to Miss Sally's barn burns down, we're going to be too far away from each other to be able to come back and rebuild her barn in 3 days. But if we keep ourselves close together on purpose by only riding e-bikes and horse and buggies, we can still get away, but we just can't be too far away to where if something happens, we can't get back to each other. So suddenly, I started thinking about everything. He's like, that's why we'll never have TVs, because that is going to take us away from each other. So whenever I install a new app on my phone, I ask myself the question, will this take me farther away from my community, or will it bring me closer to them? And that's the decision making that I use now whenever I'm adapting new technologies. So that's really helpful.
Thou preach.
Yeah.
And I feel like so we don't have Amish, we have Hutterite communities here. And I feel like there's a lot of times judgment, like, oh, they get together with the times, and I can't imagine.
Oh, bro.
And the older I get, I'm like, actually, might be the fools.
No, yeah.
In this combination.
I used to. I talk about this in my documentary. I used to drive through Amish communities all the time and see the little Amish kids pulling their wagons, and be like, oh, those poor kids. And I'll just never forget when I was sitting on the front porch with Willis and Kathy, and we're sitting there every night having coffee. The Amish drink coffee like at 10 p.m. It's the craziest thing. They work so hard, literally, that the coffee doesn't even keep them awake. So we're drinking coffee, and I'll never forget when a minivan came by, and I just looked in the back seat of the minivan. It was dark. I don't know what time it was, and I just saw two kids, like, their faces were glowing as they were on their screens, whatever. And by this point, maybe I've been like 2 weeks in with the Amish, and it was the first time I went, oh, those poor kids. It's like something switched in me where, again, I'm not like, don't let your kids watch screens. That's not what I'm saying. But I did think to myself, I put up on the screen little Lane. He was a little Amish kid with a little hat on. That kid is he's so smart, mind-blowingly smart. And he just knows so much, and he knows his way around animals and horses and all these things. And I just thought, that kid... it flipped. I used to be like, these poor kids, they don't have Xbox, they don't have all the things that they, and now it's the opposite. I think all those poor kids, when I see them driving by beautiful Amish country and just, on their screens. So.
Okay, so I'm going to turn and want to talk about your dad
Yeah.
and grief. And I feel like for most of my life, I knew grief from a distance, as a pastor and whatever else. It's a part of my occupation and field. Since my brother passed away 2 years ago, I now know grief.
Yeah.
Maybe just a show of hands if you're willing, like how many of you would say, I know grief? Like, and just have felt that. Yeah. It's kind of crazy just to even see that. But so it's been right around 6 months since your dad passed. Shout out to your mom, by the way. She's with
Mom's
us.
in here. Hey,
Yeah,
Mom.
yeah. I felt like even just meeting you, Carmen, was just like meeting a saint. just clearly a person of God, a woman of God, and so just to honor you in that way. So it's been roughly 6 months.
Yeah.
Grief looks different for all of us. Things you've learned about grief.
Yeah.
Like, has there been one or two things that come to mind that maybe is new for you? And maybe a question, did you feel like you knew grief before your dad?
Right.
Was that
No,
yeah.
I don't think I knew grief. I think I am blessed to have made it 50 years of living without truly experiencing it. And there was a grieving with my dad because he had dementia.
Oh.
It was like a slow motion, right? It was like watching him die slowly for, in a different way, because he wasn't even necessarily physically ill for a long time, but watching it, this long goodbye, that there was some grieving there that I didn't know was happening, to where, I think when he passed and we were all there with him, it was this like, just guttural moment, right? But there was also this, like, I remember, Mom, you obviously you were right there with me. I just remember it was the weirdest thing. I started saying, "You did it, Dad." Like you did, like cheering him on, almost like, oh my gosh, you did it. Like, I can't believe, like, almost wanted to give him a round of applause, like, wow, and so and then my brother was completely different than me. Like, he ran to the back and he's like wailing, and I'm like clapping, cheering, and I'm looking like we both just lost our father, and we are both handling this grief in completely different ways, and neither of us are right or wrong. And I think that was one of the first things I learned, is that there's no rules, but you have to become friends with it, because if you try to keep it away, it'll destroy you. And so for me, I've just had to really welcome grief in. Therapy has been vital, super helpful for me, to have somebody else help me walk through it.
Yeah.
I think I'm still learning. Again, I'm only 6 months in. I'm watching my mom walk through it. And so what does that look like for her? And then how do I help her with her grief? And then how do I make sure that she is continuing to be strong, and that I don't want to, offer codependent help? And it just gets so, all of these things that you have to navigate through are so important. So it is, there's not a grief book, and you just have to go through it, and you have to welcome it, I think.
Oof. Well, first, thanks for sharing all of that.
Yeah.
Away from therapy, what do you think has been how else can a person welcome it? Whether it's 6 months or 6 years ago and they've never welcomed it.
Yeah.
Any other things that you would say that you've, like, what does that look like when it comes to welcoming it?
I think, if any of you have read my books or you follow me online, like, I've always welcomed the journey, whatever the journey is. And so I think it's easier for me to, and I'm a big therapy guy. I'm a big, all of this stuff for me is like, my wife and I are doing a 3-day marriage intensive starting tomorrow, and and I was FaceTiming her today between the services, and she's feeling a little bit under the weather. She's getting a little bit better. And I was like, babe, aren't you excited about tomorrow? And she's like, what? I was like, we're doing like 3 days of like marriage therapy. Like, she's just like, no. You're weird, but I'm always looking at stuff like, oh, this is going to make me better. And this is going to be, I'm kind of, so that's just kind of how I'm built. Right. And so,
well, same here.
Yeah. So when it comes to grief, I I just welcome it. I welcome it all. Like I open my arms and I'm like, just come at me, but I know not everybody is built that way. And I know that there's grief, and I think people need to understand that there's a difference between grief and trauma, right? So like trauma can exist with grief, but I haven't necessarily gone through trauma, and so I think I have a lot of people that I know that have been through trauma that coincided with their grief. That actually you have to work on two different things at that point. And so that's where it starts getting even more complicated. It's like, well, yes, you're working through your grief, but you're also working through your trauma. And so I just think that it's so important for people to be very distinct in knowing what it is that they're working through. Is this trauma? Is this grief? Is this both? And I think that's where a lot of complication maybe starts to come into people's minds. But, again, I'm always going to welcome it. I'm always going to welcome grief. Open the door, let it come in, and let it visit. But then, I'm going to tell it like, you don't get to own me, but you can visit, So you can't drive the car, but you can be in the car.
That's good. Really, really quick for me, I didn't realize that after my brother passed, for like 2 months straight, I didn't just not only not stop working, I unintentionally, I couldn't believe I was doing it. I actually made myself work so much harder.
Yeah.
Like the day of my brother's visitation, I worked an entire day, and that somehow was totally normal.
Yeah.
Which is just like, what? And then didn't take a Sunday off at all until someone on staff cared enough about me to start asking hard questions. But that was something I was just like, oh my gosh, I'm not like, I would have never thought I was doing that. How it looked for me this weekend. So my niece got married, and we got together, all that my brother and sister are there, and we got ready to take the sibling pic, just spur of the moment. And it just like hit me like a ton. It was just so crazy. And I was the one being, which typically is my mom getting us together. I was the one, hey, let's get pictures. Yeah. And it just totally hit me. And so for me, what welcoming looked like was first off acknowledging that the moment sucked. But then I just slipped away. I just told Beck, hey, I'm going to go on a quick walk. And I just walked down a gravel road for a little bit and just processed it with the Lord. And I think in the past, I would have just tried to shove any feeling to the side. And so that's such a good word.
Well, welcoming it in. And, I think the other thing that sometimes it's been such a big season of grief for my family. So I was in the room with my father when he passed away, and 2.5 weeks before that, I was in the room with my wife's mother as she passed away. So we both were kind of together. We both lost a parent within 2.5 weeks, which is, I think, what tomorrow and the next few days are going to help us do. Because I think we looked at each other and we're like, man, like we've really been navigating this stuff separately. But this happened together to us. Like this was we have to grieve together and figure out how to do this together. So, just again, looking for help, constantly looking for help. And, so.
What would you say, is there been anything, and this is kind of advice if we have a friend that's walking through grief or a spouse or whatever it might be, was there anything specific that was helpful that a friend did for you?
That's good.
That was like, wow, that was meaningful. I felt seen.
Yeah, 100%. Put on a calendar 6 weeks after the grief begins. Let everybody else call those first few weeks, and then that's when you step in, because that's when it gets the quietest. That was super helpful for a few friends that after everyone had been to the funeral and kind of had been saying their condolences or whatever, then they showed up and they're like, okay, now we know that things are going to kind of slow down when it comes to that. One of the things my wife used to do for friends of ours at funerals, she would take a little like the little rip-off calendars, like you buy at Target or whatever, and she would stand at the door, and when guests would leave, they would rip off a date of the calendar, take it with them, and that was their date for the next year to reach out to the family. And what it does is it actually just created this longevity of people seeing them and them not feeling alone. And so that's something that I think was masterful that my wife used to do.
Wow, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
One quick thing that I think was helpful for me, it continues to be helpful, is when people mention my brother to me.
Yeah.
Like, hey, I was working on this project and Hugh was a part of it. Yeah. Was at this thing and I just thought Hugh would love it. Like that for me has been so helpful, just for people to continue to.
Yes, continue. And don't feel like, well, if I say something, they're going to get sad. It's like, no, I get so happy when I talk about my dad.
Yeah.
You know, my mom loves to talk about my dad. And so it's like, I know it could feel like I don't want to make them sad, so I don't want to say anything, but trust me, they want to remember. They don't want their memory to go away.
Yeah.
So.
Do we have any questions? I'm going to keep plowing. I just want to make sure. Okay. So this is something I intentionally did not ask you about this because I wanted to hear it. So I believe you're 51 years old.
Yes.
I only bring that up because I saw it on your Insta story.
Yeah, I am.
I had Emily. I was like, Emily, we need to find out how old he is. And then like the next day, you're like 51-year-old, whatever.
Yeah,
this is just recently you posted your age on Instagram.
Sure, yeah. I got no shame in my game, bro. you either get old or you die. So I'm like, I'll just let me get old.
Okay, so you're 51, and this is like a really cool compliment. You're 51, yet you, in the best way, live like you're 24, 25. So here's the convicting part for me. I'm 43.
Okay.
Yet I feel like I'm living like I'm 78. Really?
Yeah.
I've started saying like I can't do that.
Yeah.
Or I shouldn't do that. Even like physically, there's my dad's health physically has not been wonderful, and so anytime I sense anything that might resemble him, because we're built exactly alike, I start treating myself like I'm 90 years old. What has helped you to remain young in spirit?
Yeah.
And have you felt that at any point, like where you've started? Have you had any thoughts where you're like, I can't do that, or I shouldn't do that?
No.
That's not safe, or I'm too old for that?
No.
Gosh. I suck.
Yeah.
I'm old.
You don't suck, but like I honestly, one thing that I've always done is every year I pick something new to learn. So, and people that follow me online have watched me try and fail many things, right? Beekeeping, that was 2 years ago. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to become a beekeeper. I took a course for 3 days. I bought the suit. I bought 20,000 bees. I brought them to my house. I dumped them all in a box in the beehive, and I'm in. I'm filming. I'm learning. And then I don't know if you guys know this, but they just flew away. They just left. One day I walked out and my bees were gone. I was like, who stole my bees? No, they just left. They were like, nah, deuces, this guy doesn't know what he's doing. We're going to go somewhere else. But like, I
do you still have the suit?
I got the suit. I still have the beehives, everything. It's just empty, vacant. And so, but here's the thing. Like, I feel like when I stop learning, I start dying. And when we stop being curious, I think that's the beginning of the end for us. And, you know, in my next book, I've got this phrase that I honestly believe the youngest at heart, that are the oldest, are the most curious. And I think that curiosity leads to empathy. Empathy leads to trust. Trust leads to relationship, and relationship leads to change. What most people want to do is go straight to change. Well, I got to change this. I'm getting old. You know, I don't want to change. I don't, you know, whatever it may be. I'm telling you, the longer you can stay curious about people that don't look like you, think like you, vote like you, believe like you, all the things like you, or stay curious about bees and magic and knife making and all these other things. Curiosity is curiosity, whether it's about a thing or a person. And so I just have made a commitment to stay curious. And staying curious, I think, is keeping me young. So, you know, I stayed curious and started playing pickleball, you know, 2 years ago. Those that follow me online know that I'm like, that's a whole thing for me. But now I'm like, I'm 51 years old and I'm beating every 25-year-old in pickleball in Nashville. I'm like, get out of here,
young
bro.
People.
Get out of here. I just for the first time ever, 15 days ago, played golf, my first round of golf ever in my life. I was like, nope, I'm not going to do that because I was judging golfers. And I was like, I'm not going to be a golfer. And now I've got a golf coach that lives in Minneapolis. I have a golf Instagram account. I've got like, you know, like I'm all in. Like I hit my first birdie 4 days ago. Like I'm all in. But again, it's I love doing things I'm bad at because it keeps me learning. And so I'm going to keep trying to find things. And you know what? It's science is science. And now even 18 months difference from when I started playing pickleball to now, when I walk off the court now, like my hip hurts. It didn't hurt 18 months ago, but it hurts now. So I'm like, okay, what do I got to do? Like I'm going to have to stretch more before I get out there. I'm going to have to do more things, but I'm not stopping. So stop getting old. You don't have to.
So I resonate with the learning part. Like I'm a constant learner.
Yeah.
So book reading, most of it is around leadership and church stuff and all that end of things.
Yeah.
So
that's boring.
As a friend, like I'm full permission.
Yeah.
It's mainly around like my physical stuff.
Sure.
Where I'm just like, oh no. Like I'd rather a hard pass on dying.
Yeah, move it or lose it. You know.
Yeah.
Like literally, you either move it or you lose it. And so for me, I'm like, what are the joints in my body, and what are the things? I'm not going to a gym to lift weights, right? So what am I going to do to lift heavy things every single day? What am I going to do to keep using my spine and lift up and squat and do all these things in practice? Oh, I can do pickleball. Golf is going to rotate me this way. And so like, I just am going to continue to, I've just seen too many so I'm class of 92. And my like, whatever the last reunion, they look 100 years old. Sorry. But I'm like, no way we're the same age. Like no way. But I can just see people. Now, of course, some people, obviously, sickness and things happen to where but like, it was like the majority of people that I just feel like kind of gave up. Like people got to a point where they're just like, well, I'm not young anymore. I'm not as old as the boomers, but I'm not a Gen Z. And so I'm going to start being cranky, and I'm just going to start, stop moving. And I just think, no, like right now, like keep learning, keep moving, find a hobby that has nothing to do with necessarily even learning here. Yeah. Find a hobby that you have to use your hands. Find a hobby that you have to use your body. Find a hobby that you can't use a phone while you do that hobby. And so like, what are those things? And I just think it's going to make you live longer.
That's good. Can we get the microphone up front? Emily's coming. That was good. I felt that was good.
Oh, just a little pushback.
Gosh,
I just love you.
Class of 92.
Yeah.
That.
So is Heather like you, or does that drive her nuts? And then the follow-up is, what's the balance part of that? So if you're starting all these new things, what do you let go and go past, and what do you keep doing? Because if you keep learning and keep picking up these hobbies, you can't afford it, and your time is going to go away as well.
Yeah.
This is turning into marriage therapy a day early.
A day early. Let me just call my wife. So she knows I'm a learner. I've always been a hobbyist. I've always, I get into things. But also, I decide to learn something new every year. The reason why I do that is because rarely do they ever stick. So like I literally did magic for a year, believe it or not. Like I bought a magic course. Like I went to magic school, like at the mall. Like
at the mall?
Yeah, at the mall. Yeah. Like I got it, and and Heather just kind of rolls her eyes, and sure, it didn't last. It barely lasted. There's things I try to do that last a month into the year. There's things that I try to do that'll last 6 months, and then there's things that bring life to me, and those are the things. Fly fishing.
Yeah, I was just gonna ask what's stuck.
That's stuck. Fly fishing stuck. Knife making. No, I bought all the knife making stuff. It's all in the corner of my garage. You can see it. If anyone wants to make a knife, come to my house. Like it's all there, all the metal, everything. But I made like Heather half a kitchen knife, like half of one, and she sees it all the time, and she's just like, babe, like, can you pick like something that's not going to cost us, $700? But there's been things that stuck. So like magic didn't stick. Fly fishing stuck. Pickleball stuck. Beekeeping did not stick. Working on my car stuck. So that was like a decade ago. I was like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to change what was it? It was a catalytic converter. So I did, and I loved being under my car, under my truck. And I was like, it's like, especially in the summer, it was like cool underneath there. I kind of like slid underneath there. And I don't know. And I'd get out and I'd fix it, and like I'd be kind of greasy, and Heather's like, you're hot. you know? And I was like, yeah. And so like, I'm just always going to be greasy now and like always going to be, you know, but I actually loved it. And so now like I've done repairs on my truck, like changed all the brake lines, like the whole brake lines, the braking system. Like I love it, but I also am a puzzle guy. I like, you know, so to answer your question, like Heather knows this is part of my personality, but I also know that not everything's going to stick. And so, you know, I try, even with golf the last few weeks, I mean, she literally told me 13 days after the first time I held a golf club, she said, you have a problem. Like, and so it's because like I was watching like YouTube videos like 5 hours a night. And next thing you know, I'm like signing up for the PGA Superstore. So I can like go down there and like swing against the thing. And then
you went to Top Golf here in town.
Yesterday, I took my mom to your, whatever your golf place was, so I could film my swing for my golf coach in Minneapolis. Like I'm all in. And so, you know, when my wife says stuff, she'll say something, and that's all. Like all I need her to do is say it once, and I know, okay, just take a breath, Carlos. You know, take it back. So yeah. So again, that's part of my personality. But I love learning. I love being curious, and that'll never stop.
I thought that was so good that you just said all it takes is her saying it one time.
Yeah.
Just to answer like I don't know if this is a question or not. The husband that's got 40 hobbies and is a sucky husband and dad.
Totally.
That would not be you.
No. And so, you know, just knowing and making sure that with my learning, I've got to keep learning about her, right? Like she is the ultimate thing that I'm learning about. And so I'm changing, she's changing. We're completely different people than we were even 5 years ago.
Yeah.
So like what am I doing now that's affecting her that maybe she's seeing is me not seeing her anymore because I'm seeing something else. And so as long as I maintain that she's the most important thing in my life, but that takes work. That just takes communication, constant, you know, communication.
Yeah,
So.
I would say the same thing for me. When I get an idea, I want to try to implement it immediately.
Yeah.
So Becky knows that I don't just have ideas. She's like, oh, sweet baby Jesus, he's going to try to do this tomorrow or tonight. Like, why not do it tonight?
Yeah.
But she's so good at, I never feel like she nags me.
Yeah.
She'll just have that moment of like, okay, bucko, you know, and I just know like, okay, it's either time to go home or it's time to like reel it in a little bit. And that's part of the give and take of having an awesome marriage.
Totally.
Yeah.
And I also know that out of all my hobbies, fly fishing is the one that my wife and I can commune together. You're not going to find her on a pickleball court. You're not going to find her on a golf court, but you will find her in the mountains. And so she's like, well, I'm not going to fly fish, but I will definitely sit and read a book next to a mountain stream with you. And so we do that together more than anything else. So
that's great.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to keep going. I just want to make sure there's no other questions. Carlos, you're passionate about, you can phrase it how you want to, but bridging gaps between people who are divided.
Yeah.
And I keep thinking we're not going to need your voice in that area because 2020's done. Right. Life's going to be great at some point. Election's done. Things are going to be great, and we still need that voice. I'm not exactly sure the question here. Like, what do we do with that? Like the divide. If we are divided in our families, a friendship over politics, over whatever.
Yeah.
Any word that you would have on bridging that gap?
Yeah. Well,
because I keep thinking it's going to go away, and it only seems to get worse.
Yeah. Well, it's only going to get worse because we just have more access to each other's opinions than we've ever had before. That's the problem. The problem isn't different belief systems. The problem is we're actually probably not supposed to know what our next door neighbor who thinks about a bill that's like we're just not supposed to know that stuff, right? The next door app, the worst app ever invented. It's like Facebook for your neighborhood, right? So it's like we used to just hate our ex-boyfriend from 20 years ago for what they believe politically. We see it on Facebook. Now we can hate our neighbors for So like it's there's just too much, and we know too much. And so I'm not saying be ignorant for the sake of ignorance, but I am saying that like, gosh, if you don't want to hang out with somebody you used to want to hang out with because of what they believe politically, something's wrong. Like something's legitimately wrong. If you can't see something that is happening globally, like for what it is, without running it through some system of political filter that you have, something's broken. I just keep thinking of all the different things that that news and social media is clouding who we are as humans. It really is. Like the amount of relationships that are over. So I think it does go back to my curiosity thing. It's harder and harder to be curious about people that you vehemently disagree with. But I do think that if we want to see people change, not even their opinions, but if we want to just see the way people treat each other change, we have to be curious. And so, one of the ideas I have, because I want to be first when it comes to this stuff, right? So I was researching, trying to see, okay, all these books are why phones are bad. I couldn't find anybody that had gotten rid of their phone. Literally, I was like, everyone's telling me how bad screens are, but nobody has done it. Let me be the guy that does it. So I do it. Then I go live with the Amish. I live with the monks. Believe it or not, Willis, the Amish sheep farmer, and myself hold drastically different beliefs when it comes to politics, when it comes to all sorts of things. And we talked about all of it. I'm telling you, we talked about all of it. And we vehemently disagreed. He's Amish, for goodness sakes, right? I tell my super conservative friends that think they're super conservative, they're like, they think they're conservatives. I was like, bro, you're the most liberal Amish person I've ever met. You are woke, left, you are, because the Amish they are conservative, right? And so Willis and I are just having these deep conversations about literal socioeconomic, political, but it is impossible to hate somebody while you're deeply disagreeing over the best spaghetti you've ever had. We're disagreeing. There was never one time Willis commented on a post of mine on my phone. He just talked to me about it. Oh, well, actually, that's interesting, Willis. Tell me a little bit more about that. And if we can disagree over a meal, I'm telling you, that right there would solve so much. But people just don't anymore. And so curiosity leads to empathy, right? Empathy leads to trust. Trust leads to relationship. And that relationship leads to change. One of the things I want to do to help people see this is I've got an idea for another documentary. I literally want to go live with the most extreme liberal family I can find in America and then go live with the most extreme conservative family I can find. And I want to live with both of them. And I want to be curious. And I just want to... Everyone believes what they believe for a reason. There's something that has happened to them that deeply roots their convictions. I just want to be curious. I want to find out. And so I want to be that guy. I want to do that. I want to be curious. And I want to show people what it looks like to be curious of people that don't look like you, think like you, vote like you, believe like you, love like you, all the things like you. And so I just think that if we can have this radical revival of curiosity, that's the thing that's going to help us, honestly, I think, save whatever's left,
First, thank you for that.
Yeah.
Just that answer. And thanks for modeling it so well. I've told you before, I think last time we were in town when we grabbed coffee, I told you you're hard to nail down. Just as far as there's times where I'm I don't know where Carlos is at on this or that or this or that. And yet you're the furthest thing from being watered down.
Sure.
You have core convictions, very solid convictions. And yet you want a dialogue. Yeah. And we were talking about the other day how quickly you can be guilty by association. Yep. Just simply talking with somebody. Oh, yeah. It's oh, you believe that? No, I was having a conversation with that person. Yeah. I don't agree with everything they said. What would you say, any advice, specifically since you're so online, advice to us as Jesus followers when it comes to politics, whatever, on sharing news articles, on commenting on things we disagree with, on how we do life online?
Fruit of the Spirit: love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. That's probably all I need to say, because that is so convicting. If you are saying anything on the internet that is not wrapped in the fruit of the Spirit, it is not of Christ. And so you can disagree with somebody with love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. If it's not there, that's the enemy sneaking in to, I've never been so embarrassed by people that call themselves Christians, by people with Bible verses in their bios, and then what they say on the internet. Like, it's just like, like, come on, you know? And so for me, every single time, the amount of times, and I think this is actually something good to do too, because people come at me all the time. And what I do is I will write out, and I'm an author. I'm good with my words. I will rip them, slice them, scalpel them with precision. I write it all out. I mean, it feels so good. I write it all out, and I'm like, they're about to just get work. Oh, woo, this is going to be so good. I do it. It feels so good. Then I hit select all, delete. I get it out. It came out of me. I get it out. And then what I do, and I've told you I do this before, especially the people that are really coming at me, after I've typed it all out, then I hit open on my camera. I turn the camera towards me, and I hit record, and I go, hey, I just wanted you to see me. Like, I know that you're really mad at me, and you really disagree with me, but I just wanted you to see me and kind of see me talk to you and look in my eyes, and I just want to say thank you. Just thanks for even having the conversation. I'm never going to reply because we disagree with each other, but I just want to say thanks for slipping in here or whatever. 9 times out of 10, that video creates relationship, creates curiosity, that leads to relationship, which leads to trust. That my comment never in 1,000 years would have done. That comment would have destroyed them. I never would have been able to talk to them again. So just keep thinking to yourself. I just think that people are losing relationships online for the sake of trying to win an argument. What a horrible, horrible, horrible reason to lose a relationship. So yeah, I'm that guy. You know, I'm always going to be the guy that tries to save the relationship over proving a point.
That's good. Something, and this is not a pat myself on the back, it's just something I'm trying to work out and live out. So a couple of years ago, and I'm glad it's been several years because you won't be able to track down who it is, I had a sideways comment from a person I didn't know on something, and I was like, who is this person? Well, this person was another pastor here in Sioux Falls. And it was like, what is happening? Yeah. So I ended up direct messaging, hey, would love to grab coffee. Like, I'd love to connect. And I'll never forget when he walked in the room again. This has been multiple years. It's impossible to find out who it is. The first thing he said is, he's like, I just want to say I'm sorry. Like, I share all this crap about you on whatever, and then of all things, invite me to coffee. Of course you would, you know? It was almost like he was upset that I was kind. Yeah. But it's been interesting to see how that works. Even recently, it was a person DM'd me locally, and I was glad they DM'd me, and we're grabbing coffee. Yeah. At the very end, he kind of shared his heart on stuff. At the very end, said, "Hey, if you'd want to grab coffee about this," and I was like, "I'm going to take that invitation as a yes." Yeah. Instead of responding, because my blood pressure was going, and what have you done is what I wanted to say back. Yeah. And that's just unhelpful. There's been a whole bunch of comments typed up and deleted. Yep. There's something I think helpful about getting that out.
It's cathartic.
Yeah, honestly, between you and the Lord.
Yeah, sure.
Just working it out and putting words to how you feel, I think is critically important. So just like, should I keep sharing news articles on my Facebook wall, even with no comment? Like, a Fox News story, a CNN story. Like,
why are you sharing that? Are you sharing that to convince somebody that doesn't believe what you believe to believe what you believe? Because it's not working. Or are you sharing it to make yourself feel better? So I've just asked that question, you know, like
I want to inform people what's true.
What people? The question is what people? Who is reading your Facebook wall? That what singular person has ever seen a article posted to a Facebook wall and been like, I'm wrong. Oh, you're right. Oh my God, I've been waiting for this article. This is the one. Thank you. You know, it's just like, you're just dopamine hits. Someone's going to like it. Someone's going to reply back to you. Yeah, dang right. You know, like, oh man, I'm so glad you were brave enough to post that. You know, it's just like, listen, what are we doing? What are we doing? So, no.
Gosh, I'll delete them all after this. Any questions on that? Heidi's got a question. Let's get
Hey, Heidi.
we'll get a mic. I'm glad I asked that question.
Yeah, good.
And even the follow-up, because I want to inform.
Yeah, well, sure. Who are you informing, though?
My question isn't specifically about news stories, but just a question that I have in my head. As a mother of a older teenager who's now walking into relationships, I know that you now have a married daughter.
Yep.
How has that walk been of going from being the dad to watching her be married?
Easy. I'll answer for him. Easy.
What time's my flight? Well, first of all, I'll preface this by saying that, like, she chose an incredible guy that loves the Lord. So, like, I know that's not the case. That's not the case for a lot of my friends and their kids. So, like, sweet, like, check, right? But there, as a dad, they're just always going to be like, really, this dude? Right? Like, why would you pick someone completely opposite of me? Like, what are you trying to say about your father that you would choose a guy that I feel like is completely, again, we're just being real here, right?
Just to mention it, your mom is laughing and smiling.
Oh yeah, I'm sure she is. Yeah, and I'm not saying anything that I've not said to, my
This is
family.
a safe place.
And I don't care who hears this. But so, like, I'd be lying if I wasn't like, if it wasn't like, a little bit confusing initially, like, oh, this is not the dude that I thought, right? But then my wife is always Heather. She's always like, well, hold on. So Hayla is you. Like, we are the same human beings. Like, everything, butterflies, rainbows. Like, we're just kind of spinning around the world. She goes, if she were to have married herself, someone just like you, it would have been a disaster. Like, she needed this version. But she needed me, Heather said. and all of a sudden it started making sense, it started making sense. But here's even, how do I say this? Okay, so I'm just going to say it. These Southern boys that my daughters have married after being raised in my home with this father have different political views than I do. Their families have different political views than I do. My daughters are having to navigate this new space, which I'm so grateful that Heather and I have had these conversations in front of them, because Heather and I hold pretty different viewpoints when it comes to some pretty big political issues or society issues. And we have been able to do it in such a healthy way. And so my daughters have both come to me and been like, Dad, like, I'm starting to think this. And I was like, I pray that you figure out who you are. You're not supposed to, vote for who Daddy voted for your whole life. Like, you've got to figure this out. And I've given them permission, and they've been so grateful for me to give them permission to become who they are going to become. Because at the end of the day, like, I think what I've instilled in them is to not be a-holes. Can I say that?
You can say
that. When it comes to whatever they end up believing, I need you to love the unlovable. I need you to be there for the person that doesn't have anyone else. I need you to. Every human is worthy of love. Like, they're believing that as I'm watching the evolving of their young adulthood kind of coming into being. And then here's the coolest part. Noah, who is Sayana, my middle child's boyfriend, they'll be engaged in the next year, I'm sure. They've been dating since they were 16. He comes from a super conservative family, like super, right? Super duper.
We're like compared to Amish.
Not there. They're super liberal Amish. But this is what I love about Noah. I think because of the way that I kind of like, I love everybody to come in and have conversations with me, even though he knows that politically speaking, we view things differently. The amount of times this young man has come to me and said, "Hey, will you listen to this podcast episode and tell me what you think?" And then I get to tell him, "Hey, you know what? This is a great point that they have. I think differently about this." And because I've been a safe place for him, I'm not changing his mind about what he believes. But gosh, we're so close, and because he trusts me to not look at him as whatever, you know. And I'm like, no, like, come on. And his family loves me that way. And so, again, I think that as parents, it's hard to watch our kids when they go from young adulthood into adulthood, step away and start figuring things out for themselves. But at the end of the day, I don't need my kids to believe what I believe. I need my kids to love everybody around them and to treat them with dignity and respect. And so it's actually been beautiful to watch. I was worried, I was nervous, but it's turning out really, really beautifully. So,
do you have dating advice for parents?
Yes.
Who their kids are in the dating, like?
Yes. Listen, dads, stop doing the shining your shotgun thing. Okay. Stop sharpening the knives. Like this is what I tell every dad of a teenage girl who they're starting to date. You don't scare those boys. You befriend them, and you have them. This is why Noah comes to me with all this stuff. Is because when he was 16, I didn't shine the shotgun. I was like, dude, whatever you need, come to. He comes to me with questions about his parents, questions about his faith, questions about my daughter. He comes to me about all these things, and so I just think, like, bring them as close as you can. It's probably not, at least for my kids, it did end up working out. Their first boyfriends, they're end up marrying. That's not normal, but it did for mine. And so, like, I invited them in. I brought them close. We started taking these boys on family vacations. Why did I do that? Because I wanted to see what these boys would treat my daughters like when they couldn't get away from me. And so suddenly, like, I'm seeing all the time. And so, yeah, I'm just a big proponent of, again, I'm just speaking as a dad. This could be for mom as well, but like bringing them close, and you'll see really quickly.
Anything different with your son and a potential gal?
I mean, there hasn't been a potential gal yet, so like I don't know with my son. But again, he's 19, so he's not had a girlfriend, and he's 19, and so. When it happens, maybe one of you guys can give me advice, because I don't, you know. And also, like, just boys are different. You know, like, at least for me, like raising my daughters, Losiah, he's so different. He's so independent. He's so non-expressive that I will be interested. Actually, Heather has a lot more feelings about that than I do. And I think it's because, you know, she's, there's some adoption stuff. There's some mom things happening there. But yeah, Heather's definitely thinking a lot more about that than I am. You know, so I mean, I don't know why, if it's just because I'm a dad of girls, you know, and that's just kind of how it is. I'm thinking a lot more about that, but yeah, I don't really have anything for.
That's good.
Dad and son, yeah.
Well, I actually had a question too around parenting. You and Heather both seem to do parenting with such intentionality and purpose. What kind of two parts to the question? What are you currently learning in this season of parenting? And do you have one or two pieces of advice about parenting in general?
Well, we're learning that having young adults, we thought by now we'd be able to clock out. And I'm like, oh my gosh, how am I still having these conversations? Like, how is this still happening? How am I still parenting to this degree? You know, it just feels like it should have been. Anyway. So yeah, so that's surprising. That's surprising. And again, I think that there's a whole other conversation just around family in general, and how the American family is, how things are so different than maybe how God created family to be. You know, even like moving my parents across the street. Like when I lived with the Amish, you had Dottie living in the house 20 feet. They're taking care of the elderly. Like it was very intergenerational, right? And now just the way society is, families leave like this, and someone lives 2,000 miles away, and someone lives over here, and there's just I don't think it was how it's designed to be. It is what it is. We have to live how it is. But what can we do? And so I think that there's societal norms that have caused maybe a little bit of a lack of maturing in, 20-year-olds, so kids in their 20s. Not all of them, because I would say that Sayana is different than Sohaila. So like Sohaila, there's more parenting happening. She's married, recently married, but there's still some conversations I'm having that I'm like, probably shouldn't be having these conversations anymore. Whereas Sayana, who's 21, she's deuces. She's like fine. Like there's not as much parenting. It's gonna come in a different way. The second question you asked me though.
2 or 3 pieces of advice.
Oh yeah. I just feel, and I talked about this morning. I just feel like there's too much advice. I feel like there's too much. How in the world are you supposed to parent? There's like 40 different styles and versions of parenting now. There was some TikTok that was going viral a couple days ago. It was like, a millennial mom and telling her boomer mom, her boomer mom, what not to say to their kids anymore.
I saw
Did you see that? where the boomer mom was
her
like,
name? Is it Tay?
I can't remember.
It's Taylor, I think is her name.
But it was hilarious because she's like, oh gosh, what was one of them? One of the examples was like, the grandma said to the kid, like, I don't know if it was like good job or, oh mom, we don't say good job anymore. we say, or I can't remember what it was, but for everything there was like a different, version of what you can't say.
Yes.
Anyway, I just think that there's so much. You can know too much, I think, in the parenting space. Like it's so overwhelming. Trust your gut. There's some things that your parents did for you that just because they're your parents doesn't mean that it's not good enough for what you do. And then there's going to be things that you shift and change, but everything doesn't have to be. Now I sound like I'm 51. Finally. Like I'm like grumpy old man. I'm finally like, get off my lawn. I'm just there's just, I think we're just making it so complicated, I just think like simplicity is going to be better when it comes to parenting, and don't overwhelm yourself with all the information. I just think there's too much out there.
I asked your mom if she had any parenting advice, and all she did was kind of giggle, and then she said, "God is good." I was like, that right there.
There's the boomer advice.
Thank you guys so much for listening to today's episode. I truly think Carlos is just the funniest, most genuine person ever. He's so cool.
And then just the wisdom part of him too. If there was someone that came to mind as you were listening, please share it with them. Send it by text, send it by email, share it on your social. The more people that can be encouraged by Carlos, the better. So there's that. We need to thank people. We need to thank Carlos first off, and his mom Carmen for coming to Sioux Falls.
She's also the best.
She is the best. She's just a beautiful gal inside and out. So thanks to Carlos and his mom. Thanks to our partners Tommy John and Vern Eide. With this would not happen without the both of you. And then lastly but not least, thanks to all of you who listen every single week. So grateful and honored. Have an awesome rest of your day.
See you guys.